Excellent. Emilia, thank you so much for joining us here. I'm pleased to be joined by Emilia Danzica from Growth Molecules, a sponsor of Customer Success Excellence. We're very excited to have them on board. The conversation today is really just to understand and get your perspective on what true excellence in customer success looks like. We're really excited to have our first ever awards gala in London on the 15th of June, where we will be awarding, very exciting, I know, awarding the best in success and really kind of recognizing those who are maybe not just the loudest voices in our industry, but those who are putting their head down and doing some of the best work, right? And highlighting those who maybe don't spend all their time on LinkedIn like myself, but actually doing their day job and advancing our customer success profession. So that's our ambition. And I'd love to speak with you today about what excellence in customer success looks like for you and for Growth Molecules. But firstly, why don't you just give us a quick introduction?
Thanks so much for having me, Alex. So I am the founder and managing director of Growth Molecules, a management consulting firm focused on customer success. I've been in the tech world for 20-ish years. And our company focuses on assessments, training CS professionals, and building playbooks with the end goal of making customer success a revenue center for companies.
So you must have seen the best, but also maybe some of the worst, let's say, in customer success. And that's what keeps you guys going in some ways. Is that about right?
I think that's a good way to describe it, but I believe there's potential in every company. So love helping and being part of that transformation that happens when you really focus and invest in customer success.
Absolutely. Let's start with the fun question. If you could describe, so we can get to know you a little bit better. If you could describe yourself with one hashtag, Emilia, what would you use?
Probably sparkly.
Would you like to add any more context?
I'm generally a very happy person, very loud, and I love glitter and things that shine. So I think that's a good word to describe me.
I love it, and I think we're gonna have to sign you up as as part of our event planning team for the glitz and glamour of the event that we're planning in London to award excellence in customer success. But let's dive into that, right? You've seen, I won't say the worst now, I'll say the best in success, but then also maybe the most opportunity for getting closer to the best, I'll say. So tell me a little bit more about what excellence in customer success looks like for you. You've seen, as we mentioned, right? You've seen quite a bit. And what does really good CS look like in this day and age?
I believe that it's putting the customer at the center and then understanding that if you put the customer at the center, you have to enable them and understand what their goals are for leveraging your product. They really don't care about your product, to be honest. They care about how are they going to achieve their revenue, their employee goals, how are they going to look like a hero in their organization, increase efficiency, decrease costs. That's what they care about. If you're trying to give them all of your product at once, they're probably going to run away. So customer excellence means understanding client need and continuously driving impact through the relationships you're building with them.
I really like that answer. And I think there's an element, at least in my experience, of unlearning, right? You have to kind of unlearn yourself and your process as a company as a truly excellent customer success professional. Have to learn their company and what they're trying to achieve. And, we can give lip service to it and, have a list of common outcomes the customer might try to achieve. But actually at the end of the day, forget the list, that still comes from your company, right? Getting both feet into the customer organization that you serve and truly understanding there's a real, still a big gap to cross there, I think, for a lot of us in CS.
Yes, and it is a continuous improvement experience because one, your client needs change, and two, your product and company changes. So how do you continuously grow together?
And I think I really like the way you put that because, I've been in CS for some number of years now, and I still find the momentum so different, right? It's continuous. if you're in sales or even in product, you're shipping something or you're selling something and it's done and on to the next thing. That's a push and finish momentum, right? Whereas customer success, it's continuous improvement. The customer can always get more value. They can always be a customer next year and the year before, the year after. And that marathon versus sprint mentality, I think, is a real challenge for folks to enter into customer success for the first time and get used to.
Right.
Let's speak a little bit more about people and customer success professionals. What qualities or characteristics would you say are critical for a world-class customer success professional in your view?
You need to be curious. I believe that is one of the most important skills that takes learning because, well, for people like me who love to talk, you need to learn to listen to what your customer needs and ask the right questions. So being able to say confidently, can you tell me a little bit more about why this is important to you, especially when they're asking for something like a product feature you don't have and you may never have, is a really important skill set. So the first is curiosity. The second, communication skills. You need to have the ability to have difficult conversations and not infuse anger or make the customer feel stupid, but it will go back to the curiosity, understanding the customer needs. So I think communication. And then the third is confidence. You need to be confident about the product you're representing. If you're not excited about it, you're probably not going to be confident. And then you need to be confident with the skills you have. If you don't have those skills, then go get them. Whether it's doing it as a group in your organization with companies like ours, or going to YouTube and Googling, how do I have a difficult conversation? I mean, there's so many books out there. Radical Candor by Kim Scott, Difficult Conversations, a lot of books out there as well that can help with the communication, curiosity, and the confidence.
3 C's of the
Yeah.
best C and CS. I think you just coined some new IP or something there.
Oh, right.
That's very good. I like it a lot. And I think, there's the confidence for me really resonates because I think it takes a lot of confidence to tell a customer no in a non-confrontational way, right? And the nuance in CS of thinking my job is to make the customer happy. That means I say yes to anything that they want, but actually my job is to make them successful. And sometimes that requires me to say no in a way that keeps them on side and we have this relationship still of trust, but I can challenge politely. Is a very hard but differentiating skill, I would say.
I agree.
Indeed. Let's talk about the future now, right? We're talking, customer success is still relatively, I guess, are we in our teenage years? I guess we are. Hopefully we're gracefully, definitely. Yeah, we're gracefully aging as a profession, which is good. But let's talk about the future, right? A lot of things have changed in CS, moving from we've talked for some years now about moving from a cost center to a profit center, right? You mentioned it in the intro, and many more companies are doing this as they recognize that the majority of software revenue comes after the first sale, right? But let's push forward, right? We see things like product-led growth, customer-led growth, other trends that are happening, even B2B relationships becoming more like B2C relationships and the expectations of buyers changing. Where would you think customer success will be in the next 5 years, right? Where are we going? We know where we came from, but where are we headed?
I mean, right now, everyone's talking about AI data to lead the conversations. At the end of the day, we're human. We are relationship focused. And no matter how much AI you throw at a product, at the end of the day, there's a human element, the culture. I believe those elements will remain. You can't retain good people if you don't have a good culture. So ensuring that you create a culture that people want to be part of, especially now with everything that's happening and transforming in our world, we're living in a new age. It has to continue to be central, the culture and the employee. Also, I believe that with all of this AI, so I'm on an advisory board for Update AI, so I get to see the product as it's evolving. And it's all around conversations that customers are having with their customer success managers, being able to capture the voice of the customer. What do they really want? And putting that in the product, educating your sales team on how to sell and speak to the client needs, educating your onboarding, your account managers, whatever titles they have, on the customer experience is going to continue to be more and more important. And these products will become more sophisticated so that in more real time, the customer's actions with your product will be fed to the right organized departments within your organization so that they can leverage it in more real time.
It's a good point. And it strikes me as, tools like Update AI and others that, we have a lot of data on our customers already. And that's why CS platforms exist and are getting more sophisticated. To your point, usage data, support tickets that are being logged, how often they log into the customer community. But that conversational element, that relationship piece, we can still use a tool. There's a human element that's still required. I completely agree with your point, but, at least ingesting that as data to fully kind of give you a picture in a data-driven way about the customer's engagement with you as a business as a whole, feels like we're getting close to completing, let's say, the data-driven approach to all layers of engagement with a business, right? Which I think is super interesting to think about. A little scary, but it's a conversation for a glass of wine at the awards gala, I would say.
Yes.
Indeed. So last question here as we wrap. I'll give you the last word after this question as well, but I'd love just to get a little bit qualitative. We talk sometimes about, my last question was about big themes in customer success, but let's talk about an example that comes to mind. If I ask you kind of what's an example of the best in customer success that you've seen? Where have you seen someone be really successful, or a team or a process really drive impact in the field of customer success?
We have a client, I won't share their name because I don't have permission, but we worked with a client and recently we were part of some internal conversations, and they shared with the organization, they've invested in a customer success platform. Now they're really able to use data to drive those conversations. And we helped them. We did an assessment, then we built their customer success playbook. Then we trained the team globally, all of their CSMs. Now, fast forward 6 months, we're part of this conversation, and the CEO shared with the company that their net retention rate is at 159%.
Wow.
It's incredible. I have worked with companies where they've gone over 100 to maybe 120, 130 is the max, honestly, that our clients we've seen. But for her to announce that, I just let it sink in, and it felt really good to hear that. The second stat she shared, and she did not share the exact number, but she said their NPS is off the chart. And when I think off the chart, I think of a company like Apple, right? It's over 80. And the average in the B2B world, which I think is even funny that they use NPS, because NPS was created for B2C by a Harvard professor. But since board members are obsessed with that, I would say that the average NPS for B2B is 21. So for someone to say our NPS is off the charts, they're, of course it is. That's how they get 159. So that is a story that just, for me, it made me feel so good, brought tingles down my back. Like, this company has invested in customer success and their customers are investing in them.
It's such a good example of excellence in customer success, if I can kind of bring it home here. And really the purpose of customer success excellence, which is, we can talk a lot of theory about, even I love the conversation. Do we want NPS in B2B? I think no, but there's obviously nuances to that debate, but that's a theoretical debate, right? And we can have it, but actually it's a distraction in some ways from what companies are doing day to day to drive revenue retention, NRR at 159+%. And that's really what these awards exist to recognize. So if you like what you heard, folks, you can join us in London on the 15th of June for the very first awards gala for the EMEA region, where we will award winners from all of our nominees who are shortlisted. Stories like that is what we'll hear about, which is we're really excited about. So I'm very glad to have you and Growth Molecules involved, Emilia, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Alex. I'll see you in London.